Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my TBR Takedown series. So I currently have 42 books on my physical TBR, which is way too many. I don't need that many books on my physical TBR, and that's not including the entire Throne of Glass series. So it's like 49 books on my physical TBR, including that. So we have a lot of books that we need to get through. So I'm actually currently in the middle of 2 books right now. So first we have Dark Matter, which I'm like 90 pages into, and I read this physically at first, but then I switched the audiobook because I'm not really into it very much. I definitely want to find out like what happens, and that's why I'm not DNFing it right now, but I'm just not a sci-fi girly whatsoever, so I'm having a hard time connecting to this book. But it is like entertaining as an audiobook, and like I said, I definitely want to find out what's going on with him. So basically we're following our main character Jason, who one night was walking home from being out and he's taken by someone, and then he ends up in this alternate version of his life where his wife isn't his wife and his son isn't born, and he's in this different profession. He has this different profession, and we're basically just following him, like trying to figure out what's going on. And while that does sound interesting, like I said, I'm not a sci-fi girly, and this is getting very sciencey. The more I read it, the sciencier it gets, and I'm just not a science person. But then I'm also currently reading Lady Tremaine, which I started yesterday, and I am absolutely loving it so far. It's a retelling of Cinderella's stepmother, so we're seeing how she grew up and all the things that she went through from the age of 12, I believe, until now when she's like dealing with Cinderella and all of that stuff. So it's so interesting so far. Like I'm literally 80 pages in, so I've barely made a dent actually, but we've learned so much about her past so far, and it has not slowed down whatsoever, which I am so just amazed by. The writing is actually phenomenal, and I'm really upset that she's a debut author because I already want to read more of her books just simply based on her writing. It's actually phenomenal. It's been so fast-paced so far, and I'm just really loving this. So actually I can't stop thinking about this when I'm not reading it, so that's such a good sign. So we'll just be spending the next couple weeks together reading these books along with several others on here, trying to make a dent in my TBR because obviously we have a lot to get through. So I am now 60% through this book, just about. The thing that just happened, I can't really say, it's not necessarily a spoiler, but like the way my jaw dropped when it happened, I don't want to tell you guys what it is, because if you're gonna read this book, you need to be able to experience it. It's so interesting because since we're in the point of view of the evil stepmother, she's not so evil, and we're sort of seeing Cinderella in like a different light. And I don't know, I'm not liking Cinderella so much. Like she's kind of not doing her job, she's not helping her on the, I don't know, it's really interesting. It's like it's making me have a new perspective on the whole thing, and obviously this is just like a version of the story, and it's definitely separated from the original Cinderella, but it makes me want to rewatch the movie. Like I need to like see how it all happens, because we also got the scene where the stepdaughters were ripping apart Cinderella's dress, but she had come out and her underwear was already showing, and like the dress was already a mess, so like they weren't really like ripping it apart, they were just saying, hey, you can't show up to the ball wearing that. So like I'm like, I don't know, maybe Cinderella was the problem the whole time. I don't know, but I'm really enjoying it, and I'm gonna try to get, I don't know, I'm like, I don't have that much left. I think I have like 140 pages left, 130 pages left, so I'm gonna try to read as much as I possibly can right now, and I don't know, hopefully we'll finish this soon. I'm really getting in like the romance mood. I really want to read Abby's new book so badly, because Alexia's sitting over here, she's reading it currently, and I'm like I need to be reading this too. And so I am enjoying this though. It's not that I'm not enjoying this, I think I'm just like, my brain is wandering to different books, and I want to be there. Plus I bought like 10 new books yesterday that I also want to read, so that's not helping. But we're gonna keep reading this, we're gonna have some jazz ambiance on, and I'm just gonna get back to reading. Tremaine, and I'm getting very picky with my rating for this one. I ended up rating it 3.75 stars, and honestly throughout most of this book it felt like it was around like a 4.5 or higher. Just towards like the middle to the end it just got really slow, and I was talking to Caitlin about this the other day and she was like, okay, but like in Cinderella like nothing really happens, like you can't expect much to happen in here. I'm like, yeah, no, you're right, because I mean, think about Cinderella, not much happens, and yeah, it's like an hour-long Disney movie, but like still, I think I was just expecting a lot more. And also the thing that ended up happening, I felt like it was very random, because all of a sudden we're now following this like weird mystery within the kingdom, and I'm like, okay, that's so random. Like I think it was kind of just like thrown in there a little bit, and I feel like if it had been more of an issue from the beginning or even like midway through, it would have been probably better. But the fact that it started like with like 80 pages left, I'm like, where is this actually coming from? And I'm sorry to be so vague, I just don't want to spoil anything because it was like really just a shocker that it was even part of the story, so I don't want to like spoil that. But overall I really enjoyed it. I think that the main character, Lady Tremaine, she was so much fun to follow, and I really loved learning about her history and what she's willing to do for her daughters, and just like the different perspective that we got that was different from the Cinderella movie. So really enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend it if you're into like a retelling. Just don't expect like too much to happen, but the writing is so good, and overall really enjoyed it. But my next reading update, I've decided to DNF Dark Matter. Unfortunately, I just don't think that these sorts of science fiction books are for me. Like I've already told you guys, I've never been into science. It's not that it got too sciencey, but like there was some science talk that just started, and I can't do it. I personally just can't do it. And I even tried switching to the audiobook, as you guys know, and it lost me. I tried listening to it yesterday and I'm like, I don't even care anymore. So unfortunately this is a DNF, and I don't know, maybe I'll watch the show, maybe, I don't know, because I honestly, if I'm being so honest, I did want to find out how he like got back to his real world. And okay, this is the kind of DNF where I would still recommend it to other people. It's just personally not for me, because if you like the whole like multiverse sort of thing, or if you like science, I would definitely recommend this, because this is very like multi-universe sort of vibe. It's just not for me. And then our next book that we are going to be reading is Nothing Like the Movies, which is the sequel to Better Than the Movies, which I rated this book 5 stars. I want to say I read it in like 2023, maybe 2024. Loved it so much. I have like tabs in it. I was just like going through some of my annotations. Honestly, love this book. We're following Liz and Wes and their neighbors, and they start off as like a little bit of like enemies, but then they become lovers, obviously. But it's just like the most fun young adult book ever. Like I would recommend this to anyone. It is just so much fun, and I love them. Like I love this book so much. And so the sequel, it's now taking place like years in advance. They're now in college, and they had this breakup because after this book, obviously they were together and then they broke up, and we're sort of learning why they broke up. And now Wes is trying his absolute hardest to get Liz back, and the way that he's like yearning for her and like fighting to get her back, it's so good. It's so good. And so I had actually read the first few chapters physically, and unfortunately I was like finding myself like a little detached from it because it was reading a little bit too young adult, which it's a young adult book, like whatever. So I switched to the audiobook. You guys, it is so good. And watching Wes yearn for Liz, oh, it's just so good. It is so freaking good. So I'm really enjoying it, and just like seeing, I think they go to UCLA now, and he's on the baseball team. She is in the photography, like social media sort of side of it, so she has to like take pictures of him, and he's just like weaseling himself back into her life. And she actually lies to him saying that she has a boyfriend so that he'll kind of leave her alone. He doesn't, and it's so good. So I'm actually really close to finishing this because I have not been able to stop listening to it. Like anytime I have free time, I'm putting on the audiobook. And hey, I started yesterday. I think I'm literally like 80% through. Yeah, okay, started it yesterday, have this much left. So I'm gonna try to finish this tonight. I'm gonna probably listen to the rest of the audiobook tonight. I have some editing to do, so maybe on in the background I'll listen to the rest of this. I don't know, it's so good, and I'm so glad that I gave it its fair shot by switching to the audiobook, because like I said, like part of me like feels like I'm like sort of out of the young adult, but then I read books like this and it's literally just Lynn Painter. Like Lynn Painter makes me believe that I still like young adult books, but I think she may be the only exception. It's just so good, and I'm so excited to finally see the two of these on my shelf together, and it's just so good. And this is on my April TBR, so we're already checking. It's April 1st when I'm filming this clip right now. We're already checking a book off of our April TBR. Like, I'm taking that as a win. Like, that's freaking, I've never done that ever. So we're going to continue listening to this and probably finish it, and then we will choose our next read. So there's been a little update to my physical TBR, as in I just went book shopping this past weekend and I got a lot of books, so now our physical TBR is at 57 books. So I'm like, it's so frustrating, because like, why do I do this to myself? Why do I do this to my physical TBR? So I have all of these books here on my cart, and then I have this, which is kind of just like my spring TBR a little bit. Like, I just kind of put some books aside that I know I want to read this spring, and then I have my April TBR over there. And so if you want to see my whole like books shopping sort of video, that video is up. When I'm filming this, it goes up tomorrow, so it's already up, so you can go watch that to see all the new books that I added to my physical TBR. Unfortunately, the next book that we're going to be reading is one that I did buy, so it's like it cancels itself out a little bit. So I'm gonna be reading After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I did start this and I binged so much of it yesterday. And this happens to me every time I read one of her books, more specifically her like original 4 books. It seems like she has her Hollywood series, it's like her more popular books, but her little like backlist that she has of the 4 books that are like fiction, contemporary fiction a little bit, literally I binged them so quickly, because you just want to like keep finding out what it happens, and she ends chapters in such a way where like you're like, okay, one more chapter. And so that happened to me yesterday, so I'm now halfway through the book, and so I just got to part 3, and basically, I don't know, I'm always so fascinated by the premises of her little books that she does that are like these in this little collection that she has. This one specifically, it follows our female main character Lauren, who's going through a really rough patch in her marriage. So chapter 1 starts where like seeing a situation where you can definitely see the tension between the two of them, and then we kind of go back in time and we see how they fell in love and how they met, how they fell in love, when things started going a little sour, and then where they are at now. And I mean, honestly, we only got their backstory for like a little bit of time. Like, we only got their backstory for like a little less than this much, but by the time we got to them breaking up or whatever, I feel like it was already emotional, because the way that she can write their story, their whole entire story, in just such a short amount of pages, and you really start feeling connected. It's just like, I don't know, it's so crazy how she writes so well, and she can just like write these characters that you feel so deeply for like so quickly. So I'm definitely noticing that in this book. And so now these two characters, like, they really respect each other and love each other, but they hate each other right now. Like, they have love for each other deep inside, but they definitely hate each other currently. So they decide to take like a year break, and they're kind of like allowed to do whatever they want, because they're not like getting a divorce, but they're like definitely taking a break, and they're not allowed to have any contact or literally anything for an entire year. And then once the year's over, they're gonna meet up and kind of see if they can rekindle things. And I think it's such an interesting premise, because we're seeing like these two people who were so in love, and then just the way that life goes, I don't know, stuff happens, and they're both just very frustrated with each other, and along the lines they just stopped being able to be honest with each other, so now they just hold a lot of resentment towards one another. And I just think it's so interesting to see. And so we're following our female main character, how she's going through that, and we're just gonna follow her through, I guess, this year, and then we're gonna see. But I just honestly can't wait to see, because with Taylor Jenkins Reid too, you can't expect happy endings always. So it's like, I don't know if they're gonna end up back together, or are they just gonna have a conversation, make a mature decision, and just be like, hey, we had a good run. Let's just end this. I don't know, like I really don't know, and I'm just so, I can't wait to find out. And so that's why basically I binged so much of it yesterday, and now I'm at part 3, and I love her writing so much. So I'm gonna keep reading this, and I will update you guys once I get a little further. And I don't know, it's just so good. And so it's like such a simple premise and such a simple book, but her writing is so good. She makes it so interesting. So in Nothing Like the Movies and in this book, UCLA is mentioned because Liz and Wes went to UCLA, I'm pretty sure, I'm like 90% sure. And then in this one, our two main characters met at UCLA in college. And then there was an Ashley in Nothing Like the Movies, and there's an Ashley in this book. And both of them play like such a small role, like we don't actually even see either of them. But just, I never read my name in books, and just the fact that both of them have 2 things in common, back-to-back books, what the heck. So I finished After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and obviously by the speed of which that I read this, obviously I really enjoyed it. I did end up rating it 3.5 stars, 3.75, I can't remember what I decided on, but I just feel like if you're, like when I read these fiction books, obviously they're very character driven, so there's no real plot all that much. Like we're basically just following these characters and what they're going through, so there's not gonna be like that much happening. So like it's unfair of me to expect a lot to happen, but I just feel like I wasn't too invested in the characters or what was happening. Like obviously I could not wait to find out how the couple was going to solve their issues and if they were going to end up back together, and I was very invested in that. But I feel like during the year that they took apart, I just didn't care all that much about what our FMC was really going through, because she spent like 90% of her time with her family, and while I did enjoy some of that element, I wasn't invested in anyone but the couple. So because of that, I decided on that rating. But I love her books so much. This is probably my least favorite book of hers. I only have one more read. I only have maybe In Another Life, and right now this is my least favorite. I just wasn't that connected to it, but her writing is always so phenomenal and loved it so much. So that's that with this reading vlog. It is time to call it quits on this reading vlog, and I know my TBR basically didn't even make a dent. Like, let's be so honest, let's look at my TBR. We're gonna need to do like 100 more episodes of this until my TBR's actually like done. So I will be trying my hardest to put out so many reading vlogs, so many TBR takedowns, just like specific videos curated to getting this number down, because this is crazy and I have so many incredible books on my physical TBR. I just need to get to reading them. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you guys so soon. Bye guys.